This Speedmaster was introduced a little over a year ago and I decided to add one to my collection. So, how does it hold up? I think it's the best Speedmaster you can buy, and in this video I will tell you why. This watch was introduced in January 2021 and we covered it on the Fratello website and in some videos on YouTube talking about all the details on this new Moonwatch master chronometer. Our expectations of this watch were very high, but I did have some doubts about some of the details on this watch, but I will get to that later on. I decided to buy the most basic version of this watch, in stainless steel and with a Hasselite or plexi crystal and with a closed case back, and therefore it also comes with a bracelet that is fully brushed. The version that has a sapphire crystal also has an applied logo and a see-through case back, and that bracelet has polished in between links. But because I already have the Moonshine Gold version from 2019, I already have a watch that shows exactly the same movement, and for me this comes closest to the original Moonwatch, so therefore I picked the standard stainless steel Speedmaster with a Hasselite crystal. If I wouldn't have had the Moonshine version, I think I might have gone for the sapphire version to have a look at that beautiful caliber 3861. The previous Moonwatch version was in production for nearly 25 years, introduced in '96. And if you want to learn about the differences between the current Moonwatch and the previous Moonwatch, we published an in-depth article on Fratello discussing all those details. So if you want to learn more about that, I would suggest you go read that article. We will put a link to that article in the description below. Now, why I think this is the best Moonwatch to buy is because it combines heritage with innovation. The design of this Speedmaster is based on the 4th generation of Speedmasters. Basically the original Moonwatch as worn by Buzz Aldrin on the moon in 1969. It has the 42mm case, like the previous edition, but the dial is slightly different. The dial has a step, also called the step dial. Then there is the old type of hands, sometimes also referred to as the drop weight chronograph seconds hand, and there's the aluminum bezel inlay with the .090 marker. Then the Hasselite version has a printed Omega logo, where the Sapphire version has an applied Omega logo. I love the applied Omega logo, but I also have to admit that the original ones were a little bit different when it comes to shape, and that I like that one a little better. So the original one we also used, for example, on the Speedmaster Speedy Tuesday in 2017 and in 2018 again with the Ultraman. Then it has a bracelet that is based on older bracelet models. At least to the one from the late 80s to the mid 90s, also referred to as the 1479. So it has an in-between link. In this case it's fully brushed. In case of the Sapphire version, the in-between link is polished. And it has the clasp that looks like the clasps on the Moonshine Gold one and on the one of 1969, the gold one. And this bracelet tapers from 20mm to 15mm at the clasp, where the previous bracelet was tapering from 20mm to 18mm and had much bigger links. In fact, I always felt that that bracelet was more suitable for a dive watch than for the Speedmaster. I think this is a much more elegant bracelet and it's super comfortable. And last but certainly not least is the movement. Omega did a massive upgrade on the movement of the Moonwatch. Omega used caliber 861 since 1968, all the way till 1997. And in that year they introduced the 1861, which is the predecessor of this movement, that they then used up till last year when they introduced caliber 3861. The previous Speedmaster was one of the last watches in the Omega catalog that did not use a coaxial escapement or a master chronometer certification. It was also one of the cheapest watches in the catalog. Omega decided to use the caliber 3861 in 2019 in the Apollo 11 Moonshine and in the steel version, and again in 2020 in the Silver Snoopy Award with the automaton on the backside. And then they already introduced to us during a Speedy Tuesday meeting that they would update the Moonwatch as well with this caliber. So last year, caliber 3861 was finally introduced into the Moonwatch. The movement upgrade definitely adds up to the price. Omega's caliber 3861 has a coaxial escapement, has a master chronometer certification performed by Metas, and is anti-magnetic up to 15,000 Gauss. This all results in an accuracy of this movement between 0 and 5 seconds per day on average, whereas the previous movement, the caliber 1861, had an accuracy window between -1 and +10 seconds per day and was not anti-magnetic. Very interesting to note is that you can look up the test results of your master chronometer watch on the Omega website. Just enter the serial number of your watch and you will see the test results of Metas during the test performance of your Moonwatch. When Omega introduced this watch in January 2021, the retail price was 6,200 euros for this exact configuration. As per February 2022, they increased the price with 500 euros to 6,700 euros, and in US dollars that is 6,300 excluding VAT. Does that change my opinion on this watch? Not really. Although 500 euros is a lot of money and it feels unfair that everything around us is getting more and more expensive, I think you are still getting a lot of watch for the buck compared to the competition out there. So during one of the Speedy Tuesday events we organized in 2019, Omega told us that they would update the Moonwatch with the new movement. And that sounded very scary because this is an icon, this is a classic, and you don't tamper with icons. And yet they did, but a lot of things could have gone wrong. What if they would put on the dial that it has a coaxial escapement, or that it has a master chronometer certification? Or what if they put in an automatic movement? The horror. But luckily, they didn't. I think they did a tremendous job respecting the Speedmaster and its past, while also offering a lot of innovation. I can already read it in the comments. Is there not a single bit of criticism? There is. I think, and I also said that in the introduction video last year, that the printing on the dial is a little bit too large. I prefer the smaller printing of the previous version. It's not a deal breaker, but I think the latter was a little bit nicer. Then, and I think this is the most heard complaint, is that the watch is only water resistant till 50 meters. Omega assured us you can swim with this watch, but just take care that you don't touch the pushers or operate the crown. But I think they would have more buyers and more interest in this watch if they would be able to increase the water resistance to 100 meters. And then last but not least, the previous version of the Moonwatch came with a huge box. And with the new Speedmaster, it comes in a much smaller box. It has the same style, same design, but it's smaller and it doesn't have all the extras that the previous Moonwatch had, like the Velcro strap and the loop and so on. So it's only this box, and if you want to have the bigger box, you have to buy the Speedmaster caliber 321 in steel or in platinum, because those are the watches that will still have that big box. Now, as a collector, I don't care too much because I have a lot of these boxes and I need to put them in the attic anyway, and they consume a lot of space. So I am into watches, and I have the habit of collecting watches, and the Speedmaster in particular. But if I would be looking for just one watch to wear for the rest of my life, this would be it. The normal Speedmaster Professional Hasselite crystal, and yes, I can live with those 50 meters water resistance. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. See you next time.